Hi guys, my god, this is getting really tedious. So it has emerged from people close to the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, two things. First, that he didn't really know that people didn't like him, which reinforces the point that he has surrounded himself by yes men and women who probably just want to further their careers. And second, that Rishi Sunak himself may think he's not the best person for the job. Here Tim Montgomerie from the influential Conservative Home told Times Radio about what may be going on within the confines of both Number 10 and the Prime Minister's head. And it's all a bit tedious.
2 weeks ago, John, I came on here and said that I thought it was time for Rishi to go, and partly because he wasn't good at politics. And part of the reason why I came to that conclusion is it's not just about Rishi, it's about the operation he's presiding over, or is allowed to preside over. And we've had this controversy in the last 24 hours with this ridiculous ad about London, which some of the listeners may not have seen, but it's very sort of spooky, very dark. It's sort of very Trumpian, actually, in its sort of catastrophe in Britain, sort of. It's got this weird American voiceover.
Yeah.
And they've had to withdraw it today because there's a scene of Penn Station in New York rather than London.
People running around in Penn Station in a panic or something.
And now Rachel has a theory that maybe they wanted it to be so controversial that we would talk about it, because if you have a vanilla ad, and I kind of accept that.
And we are talking about it.
And we are talking about it. But I think Tory MPs it's just another example, and there's there's two or three almost every week of this operation just not functioning at a basic level.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 weeks to think about me coming on this program. I wasn't exactly prepared to say what I did when I did 2 weeks ago, but everything that's happened since, the people I've spoken to, it confirms me that I'm probably right. Anyone who's certain about changing the Prime Minister again, probably should be certified. But I think definitely on balance, I think it's the Conservative Party are going to take the gamble. And someone who should know what they're talking about told me today they didn't agree with me that it was the right call to make. But they said, I tell you, one person who's quite sympathetic to your view is the Prime Minister himself. Not that he wants to go, but apparently he's openly saying to advisors in Downing Street, am I not very good at this? Why isn't anything happening? And he's a good man, Rishi Sunak. He's not...
Oh my goodness. Once again, this is just really tedious. Like, why don't they actually do something? Why is it always gimmicks? Why is it always, let's try and come up with a new gimmick to convince the public that we're actually doing something, instead of actually doing something? Because if you actually did something, you may actually be able to hold on to a few votes. But the Tories seem to be determined, no, we're not actually going to do the work. What we're going to do is pretend. What we're going to do is run ads against the Labour Party. What we're going to do is mess about. Honestly, I'm not trying to give advice to Rishi Sunak, but if I was giving him advice, I'd say actually introduce a policy that will benefit ordinary people. But don't make it a promise that requires you becoming Prime Minister. Actually do something today. Because if you do something today and people see it and it actually benefits people, then they'll be less likely to vote for the Labour Party. I keep saying this. It's a referendum on the incumbent. Now, I think there's very little Rishi Sunak could do to hold on to his power, but try something, but not these gimmicks. So what they're talking about was an ad, some sort of spooky ad where, well, if you vote for the Labour Party, you'll end up with some disaster or something, and they included a clip from the United States. So this is a massive mistake by somebody on the communications end of the Conservative Party. But once again, they're focusing on these gimmicks instead of actually doing something. Put money in people's pockets, real money. A UBI, for example, or something. Do something and you have a chance of holding on to power. What they're doing at the moment instead is not going to help them. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.